Hi everyone, as promised, I am now going to show you how to do a cake slice. So if you are interested on how we build these, keep on watching. As always, we will run through the products, bits and pieces, where you can purchase them from, etc. when we sort of like start the build. So we'll do it a bit at a time. So to start with, we're going to need to get our cake slice cardboard template. The reason why I do this is obviously this is quite a large cake slice, as you can see. That's going to use a lot of our lightweight foam clay. So I always build the sort of like bigger bits onto cardstock first. That saves so much product. So this cake slice is 9 centimetres. So if you do want this large cake, you know, exactly the same size as mine, then what you'll need to do with your cardstock is just take your ruler, mark 9 centimetres all the way along and cut out your strip. I am going to do a smaller one just so all my cakes aren't the same. So for this one, I'm going to go down to 7.5 centimetres. So let me just pop you this way and I'll just show you quick. So I'm just going to mark 7.5 centimetres all the way along, draw my line and then cut that out. You should now have a strip of cardboard. So this is now, just fold this in half. Just make sure all your lines are lined up. If you've got any excess, you can trim that off. So we're basically going to form now a triangle. So this is how big my cake slice is going to be. So obviously, as you can see, it's a bit shorter than that one. Now you need to decide how long you want your cake slice. So you can roughly sort of like bend the edges. Obviously, we're going to do the rounded part at the back. But for now, it's just going to give you a rough idea. So we sort of like bend the edges. And I'm quite happy with that length there. You can go as long as you like or even shorter. So that, let me have a look what that measures. 14 centimetres. So I've gone 14 centimetres from my point to there. Roughly cut it. Then you should have something that sort of like sits like this. So I know this is going to be the joint of my back of my cake. So now what we need to do is cut out another 7.5 centimetre strip or whatever size you've done for this back part here, which is going to be the curve. So again, take your cardstock. You can use this one as a guide if you don't want to go ahead with your ruler and measure it out. So I'm just going to lay this flat and then I'm going to draw this along there. Trim this off down here and then I'll be back. So this is going to be the back part that we've just cut a second ago. So you just need to sort of like manipulate this just a little bit, just so it sort of like gets a curve on it. You can obviously roll it around your rolling pin, whatever you find easiest. Doesn't have to be perfect just yet, because what that's going to do is it's going to sit on the back of our cake like this, just to create that rounded edge. So I'm only going to attach one side of this, which you're going to see why shortly. So I know that's where I need my join to go. So I'm just going to mark that with a pen. And then I'm just going to cut this part out. That's the guide that we used earlier. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue gun this flap onto this part here. Don't worry so much about all this excess yet, because we do sort that out later on. So we've just glued this part on. So now what you need to do is use your guide, what you've used for the length of your slice. And now you can sort of like pull this up and down, however deep or rounded edge that you sort of like want to go at the back. So you can just pinch it when you're happy with the shape. Obviously it's not all going to hold its shape because we've got no top and bottom on it. So you just try your best just to sort of line everything up. Then I'm just going to, again, mark my pen just down there. That just gives me a guide on where I need to trim. Then once you've trimmed that edge, just fold it over onto your guide that you did at the beginning. So the length of that, which was 14 centimetres. Flap that over and then just mark a line. Then once we start covering this in clay, you know your clay does not go past this line. So this is obviously just to glue on afterwards. So we now need to take this cardboard flat onto our table, and now we're going to cover this with our clay. So this one I'm going to do in pink, because I want pink and white chocolate on this one. So this one at the back, the colours I used in my foam clay was raw sienna for the top. I used portrait pink for the middle, and then I used mocha for the bottom part there, or you can use dark brown. As you can see, the colours will go slightly lighter because we are working on a white base. So for this one, I'm going to use I think that's just blush pink, dusky pink. So this is just acrylic paint. I'm also going to use the portrait pink for the middle, and then for the bottom part I'm just going to use a darker pink. This hasn't got a colour on it unfortunately, but it's just like a dark fuchsia pink. This is the foam clay I will be using. This is just lightweight foam clay in white. It's a 500 g bag and you can purchase this from Amazon. So we do need to make up 3 colours because obviously for the stripe. So when you get it out your bag, just lightly condition it. That just means getting all the air out of it, stops it being really sticky. And then you're going to do this 3 times, or however many colours that you have done. I'm just going to form like a rough sausage before I colour it. Bearing in mind when you roll this out, your sausage is going to become a lot wider. So your sausage can't be too sort of thick. And then I'm just going to measure my sausage just right the way along this cardstock, just so I can get to that end bit there. And then that way I'm not over colouring too much clay. So it just gives you a rough guide like this. So I'm going to do the same again, and then we're going to colour 3 different colours into our clay. So I've got my 3 rough sort of like sausage sizes. So I'm going to show you on the first one how to colour it, and then I'll go ahead and colour these, and then I'll obviously be back. So again, just keep your clay out the way, condition this. Then what you're going to need to do now is form a well inside your clay. So the more acrylic paint that you add to this clay, the more you'll get a snap effect. That means that you've added far too much acrylic paint in. So I'm going to start with this pink. Add a few drops in the middle of my well. If you've gone far too much like this, I'm just going to wipe some off with the cardboard. And then what we're going to do now is just mix all this together. This is now going to form a light pink. So you will hopefully have some excess left over once we sort of like roll it out and join it together, because this is what the excess that we use off the 3 balls is what we create for the marble top. If you don't have enough, then you can always mix some more up when we get to that stage later on. So that is now all mixed in. As you can see, it's gone a baby pink, and it's lifted a couple of shades lighter than that one. So for my next stripe, I'm going to do exactly the same, but I'm going to add in some portrait pink. And then with my last one, I'm going to add in the fuchsia pink, and then I'll be back. I have now mixed my clay. These are the colours and how it turned out. Just pop the paint behind, just so you can see the difference. So next, what we need to do now is create some sausages. So just one colour at a time. We're going to use this again as a guide. Pop your clay on the table, and then we're just going to start rolling these out with the palm of our hands to form the sausage, which fits right the way along our cardboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my sausages all the way down, keep using my cardboard as a guide, and then I'll be back. So you should now have 3 rough sausages. It doesn't matter, they don't have to be even, because we do roll all this together, and obviously then we use a tool just to get the cream inside like this. So depending on what colours you're going to go for, I'm going to go for light on the top, so I'm going to just push these together. They will stick because obviously the clay is still wet. I'm going to use my darker pink for the bottom, keeping it on my cardboard. Now don't press too hard on this cardboard, because what will happen is your clay will stick. So this is as far as we've got in part 1, and I will see you in part 2.